I got excited in my last post about some activity that I saw in the market. And you know what? The market makes me a liar all the time. I want to dig into the January numbers because, again, the headlines are not giving you the whole picture. So, two big headlines that came out of January numbers. One was sales volume was down by almost 20%, which is it's a big number. And the average price of a home, again, not houses, all inventory, was under $1 million for the first time in a long time, which, by the way, I think is really great. I think prices like correcting and calming down, and there's more choice for everybody, and there's more inventory. Even for sellers, guys, like I really think going towards a balanced market where everyone has the chance to see a home, has options, it's not a bad thing. Anyway, okay, I'm sure I'll have haters come after me. So 20% down in sales volume, but then 20% of what? So from Peel to like East Gwillimbury to Georgian Bay to everywhere, it's a lot of doors. And the 20% only represented 738 sales. You say, but the sales are so low. Oh my God. Okay, but we're coming off crazy years where we had like 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 sales in January, which is really way double average. If we went back to 2018, they were under 4,000. They were like 3,900 sales. In 2019, they were just over 4,000 sales. Like, yes, we're down, but we're in a recovery. We're still in this correction. We haven't even hit the recovery year yet. So yeah, that's what's going on. But the sky isn't falling. Chicken Little's not running. Okay, so let's talk about the fact that the average price went under $1 million. Okay. Detached homes in the 416 year over year, 2% down. We call that flat. Now in the 905, it went down 9%. It's a decent amount. Like it's 10% correction in 1 year. Semi-detached were basically flat in the 416. Now the 905 saw a 14% reduction in price, but I have to tell you, I actually think that is mainly due to the fact that if you know what's built in the 905, you've really got detached homes, row houses, like developments. So I think that was just more a moment in time of what sold. Condos, 416 down 9%. When you think about the recessionary time, the condos are in 9% down in the 416. That's not shocking. I would have thought it was a lot more. 905 down 13%. Now, interestingly enough, it's up 1% from January 2021. Interesting, right? And up 13% from 2019. So like there's this whole, oh my God, they're giving condos away. Guys, like that wasn't so long ago. And we're not done. I think there's still a continued correction coming in condos, but for what it's worth right now. Here's the other story that's not being talked about. So months of inventory trend. So in 2021, in the height of the COVID market, we had an average trend of 1.6 months of inventory, meaning that based on how much we sold last month and how much we have left in inventory to sell, if nothing else came on the market, we would go through all that inventory in 1.6 months. That's crazy. That is a solid seller's market. Last year in 2025 in January, we were at 3.5 months, which is like basically, let's just say like a balanced territory, although we all knew that was skewed, but that was the overall trend of the last 12 months. We are now 5 months of inventory. And it's not about the flood of inventory so much, but it's the lack of sales that's causing this. It's really a tale of two cities still though, because condos have 8 months of inventory. Now, I have heard, investors are coming back. There was someone in our brokerage who had a client who had a ton of money in the US stock market, really concerned about what's going on south of the border. And he was pulling money out of the US stocks and he's starting to buy Toronto condos. So take that for what you will. Halton has 10.4 months of inventory. Like, that's a tsunami. Burlington, 10.4 months. Tsunami. Toronto has 7.6. Like, it's a buyer's market. And again, I won't get into it. This is not a condo conversation, but I guarantee you that 60% of those are a 1 bedroom or less. Now, detached has 5.6 months of inventory. But I have to tell you, there's not a lot of good inventory out there. Semi-detached, 3 months. Average, 905,416, it doesn't matter. And then the final story that's going on. There's so many stories, guys. So when you see like headlines, and you can't blanket the market under any like common grouping right now. It's crazy. So 40% of all detached homes still sold between 1 million and 1.5. So that's across 905, 416, but we're still dealing with affordability, and we're still seeing like the demand for homes in that pocket, especially in the 416, crazy, like still multiples. Okay. In good neighborhoods with parking. I digress. 46% of semi-detached sold 1 million to 1.5 million. This is the sweet spot. This is where people can afford to buy a house for their families. And then 56% of condos sold between 400 and 600,000. I'm going to tell you right now, the 400,000 happened in the 905 where you have 10 months of inventory. But interestingly enough, average prices of condos, again, going back and showing the flip side, it's not just one dimensional, this story. In January 2019, the average price for condos compared to today, we are up 24%. So this is just January. And I'm going to also remind everybody that the business that I'm in is very much determined by everyday life. I don't know if anyone has noticed, but it's incredibly cold, like Arctic tundra outside, negative 34. I was supposed to go running Sunday morning, canceled because, I didn't want my lungs to explode because it was going to be negative 34 in the morning. If you compare last January's average temperatures, it didn't dip below -9 at night. So these are the things that determined the activity in January, more so than I think we're realizing in the numbers. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in February, but I think based on the freezing cold temps that continue through February, that the market really won't start to bubble up until March. Until then, stay warm.